Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Sports Talk with Austin. And today I have a special video slash stream with a good friend of mine, a person that I've known for quite a bit since we've been in the same community together, and we both have a common interest. We both love the NBA playoffs. So, along with me today to make some NBA playoff previews and predictions, talk about the plans, and we're going to talk about, of course, our teams, the Nuggets and Knicks. For those of you that have been watching Gabriel Pickup from the Voice of College Football Rutgers channel.
Sir,
We're here to preview and talk about all things NBA playoffs, and we're even going to talk about the play-in and predict the upcoming games. Um, and we're going to pick our finals winners, and we're going to give you just chop it up here. It's going to be like two old friends. So sit down, enjoy the conversation with us, and just be here with us. Like we look forward to hearing your feedback too as we go
and if you
along.
fall asleep, I
Gabe,
won't be.
how are you, my friend? Go ahead. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. And if you're at home and you fall asleep, I won't be offended because sometimes I go on a little bit of a tangent when it comes to basketball. I'm super into basketball. Obviously, I'm a big Knicks fan, but when it comes to basketball in general, I can talk about any team for any amount of time. So I'm excited.
Hmm. And I can too. I could go on a little tangent about the Nuggets, like we all can. Like I'll be honest with you. Like Gabe said, if you fall asleep, we don't take it offended or pause us for a minute because we have a tendency to ramble on. We love this sport. Like this is one of my favorite times of the year. I know March Madness comes around once a year, but there's nothing better than having a best of seven series where you have to beat someone 4 times to prove you're the best. But something that does replicate the feel of March Madness, Gabe, that's the NBA playing. And we had a couple bangers on Tuesday night. The Miami Heat and Charlotte Hornets kicked us off in the 9-10 game. I mean, this was
Yeah.
as fun as a playing game as we could have gotten. And I know people are saying, why do we need to play in? Why do we need to do this? This is why. You get this was a great basketball game. I implore anybody that didn't watch this, if you can go back and watch the replay, go for it. This was basketball brilliant. It's
Oh
on
my God.
display
Yeah.
with the Hornets and Heat.
I
What
think
was your
that.
thoughts on this, Gabe?
Well, before I get into that, my question from these past 2 days of basketball is: was the play-in tournament the best thing that Adam Silver has done as commissioner?
I think so
I,
because
it might
I,
be.
I mean, because when you look at it, like a team like Charlotte a couple years ago probably would have just continued tanking and said, we'll get a
Yeah.
high draft pick. But the fact that they got hot at the right time and was like, hey, we can make a run for the play-in and we could
Yep.
catch the Bulls, we could catch the Heat, and
I mean,
and
to
do.
be honest, I
Mhm.
wish there was a way to commend the Hornets and the Clippers to the point where they get some sort of draft capital out of not tanking, because to me that would be
Mhm.
quite the incentive, right? Like maybe not like get
Mhm.
rewarded with like the first overall pick or something, but maybe get like an extra second round pick at the end of the draft for teams that are 10 plus games under 500 and then end with a winning
Mhm.
record. That could be a good idea, but that's a whole other point. If we have a show talking NBA rules, I would get definitely more into that. But as for these games, all four of them were bangers. And honestly, you could make the argument that maybe Sixers Magic was the least exciting, but even that one was very exciting until the last minute. But Heat Hornets, that was the
Mhm.
best game in play-in history. That was for sure the best game. And honestly, Trailblazers Suns, that was the second best game in play-in history. Tuesday saw the two best games out of the play-in since its inauguration in 2021. And for
Mhm.
the Heat Hornets, it was a thrill because um, it sucks that it got overshadowed in such a big way because we both know the LaMelo Ball Bam Adebayo controversy, where he
Mhm.
caused Bam Adebayo to fall more aggressively to the ground, whether it was intentional or unintentional, dirty or not dirty.
Mhm.
I had no big rooting interest in the game. I know how fans feel on
Mhm.
both sides. at the very least, it was a tragedy to, I guess, the Miami Heat, because that's your best player. I mean, he dropped 83 points earlier this year. He averaged 20 and 10, first Miami Heat guy to do that since Shaquille O'Neal in 2006. And so, yeah, of course, it hindered their chances. You got to wonder, just like you would have to wonder about Tyrese Halliburton in the NBA Finals, Game 7. Just like you'd have to wonder about, LeBron if he had Kyrie and Kevin Love against the Warriors. Like, these are things that happen, unfortunately. And, the league came up with, what they deemed a fair punishment for LaMelo Ball. How do you feel about that? Do you think that the $60,000 fine was that enough? Here's another take I have. Another take I have is the NBA should establish quarter-long suspensions, because if that were a thing, I would say a healthy medium would be maybe suspend LaMelo Ball for the first quarter of the next game. That would be fair in my opinion.
See, I'm kind of torn on this because I understand you're in it. This is a win or go home game. This isn't what we're going to talk about here in a second, the Suns Blazers game, where it's still very mildly important for seeding. But this is win or go home. This is it. You don't win this game, there is no tomorrow for you.
Yeah.
And the way LaMelo talks, he accidentally tripped Bam. He heard someone hit his head, and he just went to grab something. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. I don't think LaMelo's a dirty player. Like, he's a very talented guy. And he even said, he even came out in public forums and said, I'm going to apologize to Bam. I don't mean to hurt anybody. I don't want that because we've got families to provide for, and that would just be bad for the game. And I'm like you. It's like this has happened. If this happens again, then maybe we need to talk about it some more. But I'm going to chalk it up as an accident for right now, even though it was a dirty accident, and it was just rough for everybody involved in this situation. I'm just going to chalk this up as an accident, and hopefully it doesn't happen again. And as far as the punishment, I think it's a fair punishment, and I understand you could do something like you do in college football where you suspend him for the first half, like they do when you have the targeting rules, like they do in the NFL and college football. You could do something like that if you deem the severity of it needs to go to that level. Now, suspending him a whole game, then we're talking about possibly.
You can't do
that. That's one of them where it could change the alternate of the entire season. It could flip it on its head because maybe Charlotte doesn't win the upcoming playing game that we're going to talk about in Orlando, or maybe it obviously hinders their chances, but they're a really talented team. I think overall, if it happens again, then I think further actions will need to be taken. But as far as this one time, if it's truly an accident, he's truly sorry, and Bam's okay and healthy out of it, then let's play on. Let's continue going on with it, and hopefully this is a lesson learned that this is what playoff basketball entails. Hopefully that's all this is.
Man, if this was in early February, I can already see the Valentine's Day cards saying "You swept me off my feet" with a picture of LaMelo holding Bam's foot.
Oh no. I will say this though, for this game though, I do think, man, the Hornets, they're just a feisty young team. And we're going to talk about it. But, man, they might give some teams some trouble out in the Eastern Conference. And just think about this, too. Like, a lot of people don't realize this, but they've got a lot of budding superstar talent. You got Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball, Con Knipple. They've got James. They've got lots of guys that could be superstars, and you got Colt Brenner. You got lots of good role players. This is a nice young team, and my thing is, Gabe, has the Heat reached their ceiling? I want to ask that because, like, Eric Spoelstra's a great head coach. Like, I'm not taking anything away from him, but the way they construct their rosters, have they reached their ceiling? In your opinion?
Yeah, I think they have. Norman Powell is only going to get older now. I think he's 31 or 32. And, he was injured for most of the second half, so his
Mm-hmm.
all-star fraud watch. I'm not going to necessarily go there. He still averaged 22 points, and he was fairly efficient for most of the year. Helped keep them in the race while Tyler Hero was out for the first half of the year. They had injury issues for most of the year. As much as I like Davion Mitchell's aggressiveness, his solid play in the postseason. I mean, this has gone back since his college days at Baylor. Kello Ware is kind of like a mini Wemby, and I like his play too. Like he's like if Wemby was not as good of a dribbler and 7 feet instead of 7'4". So I like Kello Ware. Bam Adebayo, I don't know if he's a power forward or a center. He's kind of like a strange in between. He plays the aggressiveness of a center. He has definitely developed a 3-point shot, but that's not his forte, no matter how much he shoots it. He is in his prime, like smack dab in the middle of his prime, and they're still only the 10 seed without Jimmy Butler. Tyler Hero has definitely grown a lot of frustration in Miami, probably for the past 2 or 3 years. Ever since they lost in the finals to your Denver Nuggets, they really haven't bounced back. I had to throw that in there. I had to get your spirits up. I could tell you were a little pessimistic about your Denver Nuggets this year, but no. All jokes aside, yeah, I think the Heat, their ceiling is done, and I don't know if a team would value, like giving away multiple trade assets for like a Tyler Hero or Norman Powell. Definitely a team will give it all for Bam, but I don't know about the rest of the team.
I want to throw this out here, and then we can move on to this Blazers-Suns game. Giannis is a name that gets thrown around a lot. I know your team, Gabe, has been highly in talks with the Bucks of trying to get Giannis to the Garden, which if that happens, the Knicks instantly become the favorites out east, no questions asked. But I think Miami's a team that firmly wants to make a play for that if Giannis is open for it. Now, like you said, what can Miami give up that Milwaukee would take? That's the question, because you need pieces around him or he's back in the same situation again. So do you give up Bam and a first-round pick and another player and keep Hero, or do you give up Hero and a pick and someone else? That's interesting. Like,
yeah, you
all
can't
this will get figured out in the offseason.
Yeah,
Season though, that's the good thing about this.
that's true.
But
Yeah,
go ahead.
You can't really give up Bam if you're trying to get Giannis. I think that Bam is the one guy you have to keep.
Okay, so you would give up Hero before you would give up.
I would give up Hero. I would give up Ware. I would give up Norman Powell. I'd give up Damian. I'd give up Jakusionis. I'd give up anybody. Pele Larson, draft capital, the whole team. If I'm keeping Bam and I'm trading for Giannis, because at the very least I would get some salary room out of that, and possibly free agents would be attracted. But like you said, that's a later issue.
Yes, later issue. But Suns Trailblazers, this was another, like you said, and I want to say this, for as much as fans as we talk about this tanking towards the end of the season and these players sitting out, and like speaking from a fan, we can both speak to this part, Gabe. It is frustrating when you pay for tickets and you buy the team jerseys and you want to go watch your favorites play and you want to go watch your team play and the superstars are sitting out. It is frustrating. But when this is what you get, man, this is what I love. These players, like you hear people on social media saying, oh, the play-in is, like I said, is worthless. Tell this to these 4 teams.
Yeah.
They treated this like this was a playoff series. And it essentially is. And I want to give credit where credit's due. The Portland Trailblazers. What a turnaround they've made, Gabe.
I know.
mean, after everything that happened at the beginning of the year with Chauncey Billups, it could have gone real south for this team. They could have just said, you know what, we're gonna tank, which is the bad mentality. I don't like tanking. I'm like everyone else. Like if your stars are healthy, they need to be playing. They need to be trying to win games. They could have easily said, we'll get a top 5 pick and keep building. But Thiago Splitter, the former Spurs head coach, 2-time champ, which is funny. He's going to face his old team, which we'll talk about that here in a minute. What a turnaround he has made this team into. And I, for one, hope he gets the head coaching job in the offseason, no matter what happens in this upcoming Spurs series. But, Gabe, I want to hear your thoughts on the game and just the overall success story of the Trailblazers, how they managed to turn this thing around.
Well, if he doesn't get the head coaching job with the Trailblazers, he'll get it with the Pelicans or the Magic, I think. He's a damn good coach. I do like the Pelicans head coach. I believe it's James Borrego. He had a very solid second half of the year with a healthier lineup. But yeah, as far as the Trailblazers, they definitely don't get enough credit. Even after that game, they still don't get enough credit for their turnaround. Their defensive lineup, when they need a stop, is insane. You have Drew Holiday, all-defensive team caliber guy. Matisse Thybulle, all-defensive team caliber guy. You can throw in Jeremy Grant. You have Robert Williams. Of course, you have Tumani Kamara. All of these guys are insanely good defenders. And that's just if you want to stop. But, Matisse Thybulle doesn't get that much playing time in comparison to the starters. And you can still throw him out there. Drew Holiday definitely is starting to get sort of a lot more credit for turning teams into winning cultures wherever he goes. And you mentioned they're not even playing with Damian Lillard, who, besides Denny Avdia, that would be their guy. And look, when you talk about the Trailblazers, there's always an elephant in the room, and we both know what that elephant is. It is Denny Avdia. And look, do I agree with his off the court history or stances on everything? Of course not. And I'm sure a lot of people don't, and rightfully so. But I think you would have to be really blind to still think he's not a freaking star. I mean, he just dropped 41 points, 7 rebounds, 12 assists against Dylan Brooks, who is one of the NBA's best defenders, one of the biggest rage baiters, too. He's very good at getting in his opponent's heads. Denny was schooling him in the final 2 minutes. I mean, he was taking him to the rim every time, getting N1s, maybe getting no calls. By the way, I thought it was a little overlooked, but pretty stupid, honestly, when Denny made the go-ahead layup. They were up 1 with 30 seconds left, and this man was screaming in the ref's face, like screaming, cursing them out, like blood boiling from his mouth, talking about like how they missed the foul. You're up 1 point. What are you doing? If you get this, it's a tie game. That was stupid. But as for the Trailblazers, yeah, they're going to give the Spurs some trouble. I could see that going to 6, honestly.
Here's the thing, and that's the thing too. You want to talk about this? The Suns and Trailblazers. This was kind of a game. If you told me at the beginning of the year, we know how great Devin Booker is. We know how great, like you said, Denny is, and all these Drew Holiday. No matter where he goes, he impacts winning. A lot of people, if you would have said, "Oh, the 7-8 play-in is going to be the Suns and Trailblazers," a lot of people, and we even did a preseason prediction and preview, and we talked about the new era this year.
Did either of us have the Suns or Trailblazers even being in the play-in?
Nope.
That was the year 14-15.
No, both of us I know had Dallas for sure. We were both high on Cooper Flag, and that turned out to be that's another topic for another day. Maybe if we come back in the off season, we'll talk about that debacle. But as far as this, me and Gabe, like when we get things wrong, we'll tell you. And we got these two wrong. I thought maybe the Suns had potential. I even said it when we talked about it. I said Devin Booker's really, really good, but I don't know if the pieces around him are going to allow him to. But, man, the Suns came along really well, and their defense conformed. The Blazers, I mean, like I said, just phenomenal job for both of these teams. And like Gabe said, the Denny thing, he's a heck of a player.
Yep.
But – and when the thing that Gabe was talking about, I was like you, Gabe. I'm like, if he's going to get one of these in a minute, but they let it go because I even thought, I was like, oh, they're going to team up.
Good on the refs, but if they did give him a T, I would have totally understood.
Mhm.
And I think
Yeah.
that they understood that it's the play-in, it's the postseason, and you can't do that unless they're straight up saying like "F you, F your mother, F your family."
Because that's the thing too. Like that's what I worry about. Listen. I'm like, it's the play-in. This is the right to go play the Spurs. It's the 7th seed. I'm like, unless he says something derogatory and puts his hands on you, then all bets are off. But I'm glad they let it go and let the players decide this game. But
For sure.
like,
But
what a great win!
I will say Dylan Brooks got a tee for a lot less earlier in that same game. Which, by the way, it's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Dylan Brooks was plus 800 to get a technical foul before the game started, and I was this close to jumping on that, and I didn't, and he got one, and I'm mad.
See, that's what happens because technical fouls are so. Because here's the thing, Dylan Brooks, he's just a menace in general. Like he does things just to tick you off. He's that player. If he's not playing for your team, you're like, oh, I dislike this guy. Like you know how good he is, but he irritates you. He's like that fly. He won't go away. You're like, shoot.
I got a question. I mean, I'm assuming the answer is no because I haven't heard anything of the sort. But he, in theory, should have been suspended against the Warriors, right? Because he already had more than the 14 technical fouls. And I think once you're at 14, every tech you get suspended. But I suppose that offsets once the playoffs start.
Yes, it offsets once the postseason starts because you get 15 for the season, I believe it is, and then you get suspended. The playoffs, I think it's 10, 8 or 10. It comes down a little bit because I remember one year, I forget who it was that got suspended, but they got suspended for a game and ended up costing them. And I know the Draymond situation.
Oh, you're talking about Draymond, yeah.
I know he got that, and he got suspended, and I know a lot of Golden State fans, they still claim to this day, which that's a whole other thing as well. If Draymond was there, the Cavs would have never won that title either. And Curry would be sitting at 5 with Jordan. But overall to this, though, I mean, great win for Portland. I mean, they have everything to be proud of, even no matter what happens in round 1. Even if they do get swept, they have everything to be proud of. And Phoenix, I know a lot of people, are wondering what they're going to do with Devin Booker after the season that they've had. If they don't make it to playoffs, if they don't beat Golden State. Well, we're going to talk about that. But on to Wednesday, where we had 2 more playing games that we'll talk about real fast. And Gabe mentioned this one, the Sixers Magic, kind of your run-of-the-mill NBA game, so to speak. Not a lot of scoring. The Magic physically grind you down. The Sixers not healthy, didn't have Embiid, but Tyrese Maxey, Edgecombe. There's a lot of good talent on both sides of this, but this was your run-of-the-mill game. This, to me, didn't feel like a play-in or playoff type game. This just felt like your everyday NBA game. But these other 3, I'll give you credit. This felt like I was watching a playoff game. Like, this meant something. What do you think, Gabe?
Yeah, I think for the Sixers Magic game, it was scrappy. It was competitive until the final minute and a half. But overall, it was definitely the least entertaining, although I did get some free Chick-fil-A out of that game. Shout out Anthony Black for missing those 2 free throws in the second half, which – Sixers home games here in the greater Philadelphia area, I'm tuned in even as a Knicks fan for that reason alone. But as for this game, it was solid. The Sixers move on to face the Celtics. And, every single time the Sixers face the Celtics, we convince ourselves they have a chance. And every time we're proven wrong. And this time, if Embiid is back healthy, which it's possible because, thankfully everything went well with his appendectomy. The recovery timetable is usually 2 to 4 weeks. It's been just over a week, so he could return later for that series. With a healthy Embiid, anything is possible. So it depends when he gets back. But if he's back before Game 4, I think they have a legit chance. If he's not back until after around Game 5, if there is one, Game 6, if there is one, I don't see it. I think the Celtics are too good. Tatum's had enough time to come back, and they'll give them that work. But we'll get into that once we're making the first round predictions. I just, and for the Magic, what a disaster. They were supposed to come in as well. It was really supposed to be Knicks Magic, the two teams with the best chance to make it out of the East. We didn't see the Pistons being this good. We didn't see the Celtics maintaining this level of competitiveness or Tatum coming back. And instead, the Magic, oh my Lord, they're I don't see it. I don't see them winning against the Hornets. I know they'll be home for that game, but I just don't see it. And Jamal Mosley, it sounds like he's lost the locker room. I wish I could do that whistle sound, or however you do it, because he's got to go.
I mean, here's the thing. The Magic made the trade for Desmond Bain. And I thought, on paper, I'm like, this is a great, excellent trade. Desmond Bain adds another 20, 25 points to the roster. He's a good three-point shooter, so has his moments where he's great. And I'm like, to add that with Paolo and Franz and Anthony Black with all this budding superstar talent. And I'm like, the Magic, and we even said, I'll even own it. I said, the Magic might be one of the favorites even over the Knicks out the East. I know they hadn't proven it yet, but boy, was I wrong. Yeah. I mean, and like you said, Gabe, like on paper, this is a top 3 seed out East. They're one of the more talented teams in the Eastern Conference, but the way they play on the court, I get it. Injuries affected a lot of this, but even when they were all healthy and playing together, they still don't look cohesive. They can't find their shots. They can't get anybody open. It's just like a nag. It's like, come on, guys. Like, you cannot be, like, draw up a set. Do something. I mean, they play great defense. Don't get me wrong. Like, that's one of their calling cards, what they do so good. It's just they can't get nobody free. They can't play offense. Why they can't score over 100 sometimes. But like you said, with Philly, when we get to the Boston series, I'm kind of curious to hear where you think on that, because this is a completely different Sixers team than we've seen in years past. Because now Paul George, who has this postseason experience, has been to the Eastern Conference Finals. Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, this is his first one. We'll talk about that. I think it's going to be a little more interesting than we're giving it credit for. But how about this, Gabe? Steph Curry continues to defy all the odds when things look like it's in a downward trot. Steph Curry once again pulls another one out the hat. You got to tip your cap if you have one to the legend. Steph Curry puts the Clippers out. What a game, Gabe. What a game.
37-45, and they could make the playoffs as the 8th seed. Steph Curry in the second half was unreal. I actually was getting on him a little bit for his first half because he had 8 points on 2 of 9 shooting. But that second half, I believe he had 26 points. He had 5 threes in that half, and he had the game-winning or the go-ahead layup. But I want to give all the credit to their big men. Draymond Green had Kawhi on clamps. Kristaps Porzingis in the first half kept them afloat for sure. He knocked down some clutch threes. He had a bunch of putback dunks. I mean, where was the box out? That's what happens when you have Brook Lopez as your starting center, is you allow anybody to get to the rim off of a missed bucket at any given chance. Brook Lopez, you're 7'1". You've been in the league for 17 years now, and you never learned how to box out, dude? Come on. So if I'm a Clippers fan, I'm frustrated. That's who I'm most frustrated at. Not Kawhi, but Brook Lopez. And also, Al Horford. This is what Warriors fans have been looking for all year, and he's had his worst year. You can't blame him. He's 40 years old. He has also been in the league since, I think, 2007. And dude, his shooting just lights out when you need it most. That's what he's there to do. That's why he has a ring. That's why he's been to the finals twice with the Celtics. Lost to the team he's currently on the first time, and then won against the Mavericks. I mean, this is who he is. And you should have seen, I mean, I'm sure you did see, after his second 3 in a row, he had that look of a killer in his eyes. He was ready for the Suns. And
Mhm.
Warriors Suns, which
Mhm.
I think Warriors win that. I don't think the Suns have enough firepower offensively. Dylan Brooks cannot win you games as the second option.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Gabe, because Friday we've got 2 winner go home games, and the winners of these will be the 8th seed, and we'll play the Pistons and Thunder respectively. So, with all that being said, Gabe, real this is as good as it gets. It's winner go home. This is what I enjoy about this time of year. So you done made your prediction for the Warriors.
Yeah.
What's your score prediction?
109 to like 98 or something, because the Suns are good defensively. They won't let the Warriors drop 120 on their heads. But like I said, the Warriors are good defensively too. And the Suns, well, outside of Devin Booker, because Jalen Green, he had his good game. He only has one of those every playoff run. So I don't think he does that again, the 35 points that I'm referencing. And it's funny that Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks faced the Warriors and losing 7 last year, but then they get traded and they're about to get eliminated again to the Warriors.
See, I differ on this one, Gabe. I'm picking Phoenix. I think since they're in the Valley, I feel like Dylan Brooks is going to take pride in handling Steph Curry, and I know it's hard to stop Steph Curry, but I think he will slow him down, and I think Devin Booker will have one of his vintage book games, and everyone will come along for the ride. I think Phoenix wins on Friday. I don't think it's a pretty win. I'm going to say 102-99 Phoenix wins on Friday, and we get OKC and Phoenix on Friday. On Sunday. Charlotte, Orlando, real fast, Gabe. Any takes, and who do you think's going to win?
I'm making my parlay for the away teams to win. I think Charlotte gets it done, and I think Jamal Mosley will be fired in 36 hours from now.
Okay. I'm going Charlotte too. I'm with you on that, Gabe. I got the Hornets 115-110. I think LaMelo, this young budding superstar talent, I think we're in for a treat. And we're going to get Hornets Pistons. Now, as far as yes, but now let's talk about the NBA playoffs, what everyone's come to talk about. And we're going to give you our preview and predictions. We're going to talk about first round games. We're going to make our predictions all the way to the NBA finals. So you will have our championship pick before we go off the airwaves. So me and Gabe will have a rooting interest besides our own teams. But let's start in the West, the Western Conference. And let's start with the 1 versus 8. In this case, for me, it's Phoenix and OKC. For you, it's Golden State and OKC.
Yeah.
I'll let you start, Gabe. Does Steph Curry, can he somehow take a game or two away from OKC if it ends up being Golden State?
You said it in the former. He can take a game. And I think that game will be one of the first 2 games, and everyone will get their hopes up and open their eyes and be like, are the Thunder on fraud watch? And then the Thunder will absolutely annihilate them the rest of the series and win 3 or 4 in a row. And the next 3 to 4 games won't be close, but you know what's going to happen. The Thunder are going to be up probably 10 to 12 points in the third quarter, and then we're going to see the same script happen again as we saw against the Clippers. Steph Curry is going to go insane and carry them to a single win. But yeah, Thunder in 5 for sure.
For me in my Phoenix series, I think it's going to be interesting because you got the dynamics of Dylan Brooks. You got, Grayson Allen. You got Colin Gillespie, who's really grown into his role and he's a former Denver Nugget. So I'm really super excited to see him get some meaningful postseason run if my prediction comes true. I'm always rooting for my former Nuggets guys. I want them to do good in the league. I feel like Phoenix could give OKC some problems just from the defensive end, but they're the reigning champs. I'm like you, Gabe. I feel like Phoenix could take a game or two, especially in the Valley. I mean, the Suns fans, that home court, I mean, it gets hot out in the desert. You could wear a team down quicker. But I'll go Thunder at 5 as well. I think OKC's just head and shoulders above everyone else in this case. I'll go Thunder at 5 over Phoenix. I don't think OKC's getting another sweep, no matter who they play. But for me, Phoenix, I'll go Thunder at 5. Now, this right here, Gabe, this is one I'm looking really, really forward to besides my series. Lakers Rockets in the 4-5. And the reports have come out that Austin Reeves and Luka remain out indefinitely. And if everything comes back okay, they could be back in 4 is the hopes, according to Coach JJ Redick. This is interesting, Gabe. What's your take on this series?
Well, they're not coming back this series per ESPN earlier today. And with that being said, I am a huge LeBron fan. He's one of the reasons that I got into basketball. But the man is 41 years old. And sure, he had some great games earlier in this month, helped them win a couple that were eye-openers. And to me, every game that he wins in the postseason at this point as the number one option, how the hell do you do anything but praise that effort? And so I will be doing that if I am wrong about my take, because my take is they get swept.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
You didn't think I was going there, did you?
I was thinking you were going to go at least Rockets at 6. Wow.
I want to, but no Luka, no AR. I can't do it. The Rockets, no matter how dysfunctional they are, their big three are all better than. Okay, Kevin Durant and Alperen Şengün are better than LeBron at this point in his career. I can't give Amen Thompson that just yet, but Amen Thompson is otherworldly defensively, and he will clamp anybody that LeBron passes the ball to. So I just don't see it.
See, here's where I struggle with this series because the Rockets at times are frustrating. They've been playing really good basketball coming down the stretch, and which, granted, this is when you want to be playing your best. You want your worst play to be gone by now. But the Rockets have also shown it wasn't that long ago that they were playing that bad basketball. But when you have Kevin Durant, one of the greatest scorers this game has ever seen, maybe a top 10 player to ever walk on a basketball court, anything is possible. And that's what you go and get a Kevin Durant for. And that's the thing, too, about the Lakers. They're not constructed very well. That's the problem. Without the big three of LeBron, AR, and Luka, they're not a very well-constructed roster. DeAndre Ayton, is he motivated? If he's motivated, he'll play well. But if he doesn't care, he's not going to play well. I mean, Marcus Smart, he's been to the finals with Boston.
Yeah.
But he can only do so much.
And he's going to shoot 1 of 9 from 3, too.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they've got some guys on this roster that have got deep postseason experience. And you've got LeBron, who's arguably the greatest to ever do it, depending on who you ask. See, this is what scares me. Is Houston going to – because, there's this whole debate going on about, the Nuggets were tanking for Houston. No, the Lakers were tanking for Houston. No, this team's scared of this team. And it's just if I'm Houston, I'm offended if that's the case. If that's truly what they were doing, if I'm Houston, I'm offended. I'm like, you think we're that incompetent? But with all that being said, I'm going to go Rockets in 5.
You know what's crazy?
They're out.
The odds makers have this as a closer series than Nuggets Timberwolves.
It's because it's the Lakers and it's LeBron.
But honestly, no matter how good you guys are, the Timberwolves in the playoffs are not the Timberwolves in the regular season. They're different.
We'll get that in just a second. We'll get that in just a second, but I'll go Rockets in 5. I think Alfie is good. I'll think baby Jokic made all over again. I think the Rockets have almost every advantage roster-wise, and they play harder on defense. I think LeBron will get him one win, and if Luka and AR don't come back healthy, which if the reports are true, they're not going to, then Rockets in 5. Now this right here, I have to admit, I'm kind of nervous because this is the one team that makes me nervous. Because if you were to tell me out of everyone who would I least like to play, who am I more scared of? I will tell you the Timberwolves, because this team has had our number consistently. And Anthony Edwards, I'll never forget to this day when he looked in that press conference microphone and he said, "I'll see you son of a guns for game 7. I'll be right back here." To this day, that still haunts me, that we let him get away with that. Here's the thing. I'm nervous for this series, but we have a better roster than we've had in years past. I will say that. I mean, Jokic is arguably playing the best basketball that he's ever played. Jamal Murray. Can we talk about him for a minute? An All-NBA. Yes. I think he's going to get an All-NBA nod. I think he should even get some MVP votes for all the injuries that we had this year and the fact that he was able to keep his level of play up. Tim Hardaway Jr., I hope there's a way we can bring him back in there.
That's my guy.
Yes. Former New York Knick right there. So Gabe.
Have his jersey.
So we got some ties. Yes. We got some ties here. I just hope everyone can stay healthy. Like Aaron Gordon got hurt last year, and it killed us against the OKC Thunder. I truly believe I will say this, and I might get roasted for this, but I think if Gordon didn't pull his hammy, pull, I think we could have won that game 7, and it would have been us Minnesota for the West. But I digress. But to the series, though, Ant-Man's a totally different animal when it comes this time of year.
Yeah.
I want to hear your take, Gabe.
My take is the Timberwolves are a little banged up. They might be healthy on paper, but physically, I don't think they're all healthy. Anthony Edwards is going to be on his, I believe, 6th game back from being out. And he was only out a few weeks, but when he came back, he looked maybe 80% himself. Took him a while to get back into form. You can even argue he still isn't in form. He's had some abysmal shooting nights. And we saw that against the Lakers last year, and they got away with it. And, you know, it ultimately caught up to him against the Thunder. This year, I think the Nuggets are too good for him and Randall to be still kind of dusty. And I think that's what it will be. Randall and Ant won't shoot well enough for them to win this series. So I have the Nuggets advancing, and I have them doing so in, I want to say 6 games. It could totally be a 7-game series, and I hope it is, but I think they're going to win in 6.
Don't say that, Gabe. Don't put that out there. Please don't do that. I can't take 7 games. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Don't you want the revenge for blowing that 20-point lead in Game 7?
I don't care how. Listen, I would prefer a sweep. That would be even sweeter, but we won't sweep Minnesota. I don't want 7 games. Like, that's stressful. Like, for you, Gabe, as a non-Nuggets, and T-Wolves fans will agree with me on this, as a non-fan, you want 7 games because to you, it's stressful free.
It's
but
absolute
for someone like
cinema.
But for me, it's like I'm pulling my hair out. Like, here's the thing: on paper, the Minnesota Timberwolves have got the pieces that they can win 2 or 3 games in this series, maybe even win the series. Like, you don't put anything past Ant Edwards, but he has had his moments where he's gone cold on us. But he when it comes playoff time, Gabe, he loves the moment. That's the thing about Anthony Edwards. He loves the moment. But
when when he misses his shots, and he will miss shots, it's not because he's nervous. There's just something fundamentally not 100%. But it's not an issue with this. He is locked in.
That dude's got all the confidence in the world. But as far as the series, I'm gonna say Nuggets in 6. I think we get it done in 6 games. I'm gonna go Nuggets in 6. I think Minnesota will win 2 games. They could win both home games, and then we win one back in Minnesota to close it out. But I got Nuggets in 6. I think on paper and just on the court, I think Jokic and Murray are playing the best that they've played in a long time together. Hardaway's come along. If P. Watt's healthy and Aaron Gordon, which Aaron Gordon's the heart and soul of this team. He's the heartbeat. If he's healthy and playing well, there ain't no heights that we can't go. We could see my Denver Nuggets take us back to the mountaintop. But I got Nuggets in 6. I think this is going to be a 6-game series. Now, Spurs Trailblazers, Thiago Splitter versus his old team.
Yeah.
Gabe, I know we talked about Portland, but if you want to talk about teams that we did not expect to rise out of, 60-plus wins in year 2, I believe, of Mitch Johnson, and year 2 of Wemby. I mean, Gabe, did we miss something with the Spurs, or were they just always as talented? It just took health and time to get it together.
I don't know if we missed something. We knew that they were talented, but I don't think we expected them to be this deep. We knew Wemby was insane. We knew Castle would take a leap. We knew De'Aaron Fox was good. We knew Vassell was solid. Dylan Harper. You know what's funny about Dylan Harper? No one expects him to even come close to Rookie of the Year, but he has a case for 6th Man of the Year. That's very ass backwards because 6th Man of the Year is usually tougher to get. Keldon Johnson, I do think, will win 6th Man of the Year, though. He had a phenomenal year. I wasn't expecting that out of him. Luke Cornett fit like a perfect puzzle piece. Honestly, I didn't think he would. I expected it to struggle, but they got a little French vanilla going on. That's what they're calling them. Him and Wemby is French vanilla. And Mitch Johnson, shout out to him because Spurs fans did not like him last year, and they didn't like him to start this year. But he has proven them wrong. He could easily win Coach of the Year. And, when all is said and done with this season, they could easily have the MVP, 6th Man of the Year, Coach of the Year, and Executive of the Year all on the same team. I don't think that will happen. I think SGA will win MVP. I think Wemby comes a close second. I know Jokic, he's not going to win it, but he does have a case for sure. And I would personally give Jokic the MVP, but it's not going to happen. But 6th Man of the Year, I think they snag. Coach of the Year, I don't think they snag. I think it goes to Mazzulla, even though I think it should be Bickerstaff. And Executive of the Year, they could totally get. But anyways, yeah, Spurs, I don't know if we missed it, but maybe we underestimated their depth. And as for this series, it's their first time in the playoffs as a cohesive unit, and that will catch up to them. Not in this series, though. In this series, they're handling business. The Trailblazers will keep it close because of their great defensive lineup, their playmaking from what Blazers fans are calling skinny Luka in Denny Avdia, which I think that's a little blasphemous. But, yeah, I think Spurs in 6.
I think this is if you are wanting to watch young talent prosper, this is your series. Like, there's a lot of great young talent, right? But, like, the Lakers-Rockets series, that's the old heads, right? KD, LeBron doing it again. Destined to do it again. And it's kind of funny. Like, Nuggets T-Wolves, right? The tagline. They're destined to do it again. But this is like your young talent. You've got Wemby, Denny. You even got your mix of veterans. If you're a guy that likes watching the veterans, like Drew Holiday. I love watching Drew Holiday. He's one of my favorites to watch. And you wouldn't think that, but I just love the way he plays defense. Very fundamentally sound. And he's just a do-it-all, hard-working, gritty, like, put your nose down to the ground, let's work kind of guy. Donovan Clingan's fun to watch. Like,
Oh,
Both these
Donovan
teams are
Clingan
fun.
is – I didn't even mention him in my defensive lineup. That man, if it wasn't for Wemby being otherworldly, he would have a case for DPOY.
Mm-hmm. Like the Blazers are a very good young team. They're going to be a good team, I think, for years to come. And depending on what they do in the summer, they might make a leap like San Antonio. But that's a later discussion. As for this series, I'm going to go Spurs at 6. I think Portland wins 2 games off of them.
Let me
I
ask
think
you,
Thiago.
how surprised would you be if Portland managed to pull it off?
On a scale of 1 to 10, 6. I'd be a 6 out of 10. It'd be surprising, but not surprising because they're both young teams, and you don't know what you don't know.
Because I will say this: when it comes to Spurs Trailblazers, both of us have Spurs in 6, but to me, that's the best case scenario for Portland. It could be a sweep. That's my range is Spurs in 4 to Spurs in 6, but I just don't see the Blazers sniffing a win in this.
Here's the thing: it wouldn't, like I said, it'd be a 6 out of 10 because you don't know what you don't know. There's not a lot of experience on either side as far as playoff basketball winning. You know, you got Drew Holiday who won 2 titles. Like he's the most experienced guy on that roster, along with Dame, who's on the bench. As for San Antonio, I'm trying to think. Luke Cornett would be one for playoff experience. Both these are really young teams, so we may see a lot of mental mistakes the first 2 games. Like these two are the youngest rosters left in the postseason.
Yeah, in terms of their rotation, it's pretty much Luke Cornett and De'Aaron Fox for a year or 2 when they take the Warriors to 7. That's about it.
Yes. So it's kind of like they have guys that have been there. Like Portland's got the advantage as terms as experience goes because you got Drew Holiday who's won 2 titles. He could tell you what it's like to be in a series where it's deep waters to get to that altitude, so to speak. But I got Spurs at 6. Now, we both have Rockets Thunder. If that is what ends up happening, Gabe, Rockets Thunder in round 2, does KD, Şengün, can Houston dethrone the Thunder, or do the champs make it back to the conference finals?
You know, I had Rockets Lakers being a sweep, and I have Thunder Rockets also being a sweep. I think it's going to be a perfect 4 for the Thunder, unfortunately. And Warriors Rockets, I think the Rockets would in theory win that, which is funny because I said the Warriors would get a game on the Thunder, but it's all about the matchup. And the Thunder match up perfectly against the Rockets. I thought at the start of the year that would be the Western Conference Finals, but as the year's gone on, I just feel like the Thunder are S tier to the Rockets being a B to C tier team in the West. And I have them sweeping the Lakers only because of how banged up the Lakers are. And because the LeBron curse is real, where when he's the number 1 guy, anybody he passes it to, they forget how to shoot. And that's what I see happening. But when it comes to Thunder Rockets, I just don't see the Rockets playing with any sort of unity. Anytime Jabari Smith Jr. misses a shot, he's going to be wondering what's going on in KD's head. And there's just going to – I think that's – no matter how good of a coach Ime Udoka is, he's been dealt a tough hand with the chemistry this year. And against a team like the Thunder, who are the perfect team – and by the way, they have like a 10% chance to get a top 4 pick after this year. Holy crap, we're screwed. But as for this series, Thunder top to bottom, they're better than like the 10th man on the Thunder, you could say is better than the 5th guy on the Rockets.
Yeah, I echo your sentiment, game. Oh shoot, we're done for. But yeah, I'm a little more optimistic. I think the Rockets, being with who they have, with KD, with Jeff Green, these guys that have been deep in the waters, and I know they're playing the champs, but I think KD and this young team is going to rise to the challenge. I think this is going to be a sluggish, nasty, ugly series. I'm going to pick the Thunder, but I'm going Thunder in 7. over the Rockets.
Whoa.
I'm going Thunder over Rockets in 7. I think the Rockets are going to push them a little bit. I think KD, the killer that he is, when it's playoff time, he rises to the occasion. And you know how much animosity is going to be in this series, how badly he's going to want to win this series.
That's true.
There is that added factor. For that factor alone, I still think the Thunder win, but I got Thunder at 7.
Thunder beating Kevin Durant. That would be a little poetic.
I got Thunder at 7. I think it's going the distance, which for me would be awesome because I don't have rooting interest. Okay, now I have kind of a rooting interest if this turns out to be true. Nuggets Spurs. We've got the 3-time MVP versus the future MVP, and Wemby's going to win an MVP. It's going to be hard to deny Wemby an MVP. So I'm going to go out and put that on record, the future MVP for the aliens coming. And obviously Defensive Player of the Year, he's probably going to win 2 or 3 of them, maybe even 4 or 5.
I think he'll win 6 at least.
But Spurs Nuggets, and on paper, this has the potential to be one of the greatest playoff series we've seen in a long time. You've got one of the greatest centers of all time in Nikola Jokic. And yes, I know I'm a little biased. I'm sorry if I'm a little biased, but I can't help myself. I love I love me some Jokic, and I'll allow Gabe to be biased when he gets to his Knicks. So bear with me. And we saw this game a couple weeks ago, Gabe. Like, as a basketball fan, you probably thought this is cinema. I want to see a 7-game series of this. Me, on the other hand, I'm just like, it's over. I can take a breather now. It's literally, I was shaking after that game was over. I was just like so nervous. I was like you can stop shaking now, Austin. But I want to hear your thoughts, though, Gabe.
I think that game is a microcosm of how this series goes. I know a lot of people will have the Spurs winning this series. Not me, though. Mm-hmm. I think the Nuggets win, and I think they win in 7 in San Antonio. And I think that how we saw that game play out, right? The Nuggets trailing most of the game, clawing their way back, having insane stats from Jokic. That's how I see that game going down. As great of a defender as Wemby is, there's just no stopping Jokic. There's no stopping Jokic. What you have to do is hope that the others don't perform up to expectations. And for at least this series, I think they will. I think Tim Hardaway Jr. will be a huge factor off the bench. I think Bruce Brown Jr. will be a huge factor defensively on whatever wing they have him on. But, you know, the X factor for this series for the Spurs is Julian Champagnie. If he performs lights out from 3, then I think they win because the focus is obviously Wemby, Castle, Fox, Harper, Vassell. But everyone sleeps on Champagnie, including my Knicks, who saw him drop 11 threes on us New Year's Eve. This man is great. When he's on fire, he's one of the best shooters in the league. So he's definitely an X factor, but I think that Brown will do good on him. Jamal Murray, I think, could have a rough series, but I think that in turn, Stephon Castle will focus most of his energy on defense, and he will also have a rough series. I just think it could come down to who's the better center. And right now I'm giving it to Jokic. And in terms of team dynamic, they're very similar top to bottom in terms of how deep they are. I take the experienced team over the up-and-coming team for this year, and I say Nuggets in 7.
Here's the thing. If you watch those regular season games back, right, the first one was there was 2 without Wemby. And the Spurs, we split the Spurs without Wemby. And the second one, we were down 21 points, and we came back and won on a back-to-back. That shows you what kind of grit this team is built with. And I've been saying this all year. You can count us out at your own risk because, you hear this game, and I'm glad people are doing this because I feel like that's when we play our best. a lot of people expect, oh, it's OKC and San Antonio. That's who's going to be in the Western Conference Finals. This is the matchup. And I keep telling everyone, I said, keep counting us out.
Yeah.
That's what Jokic wants. That's what Murray wants. They want us to forget about you. And that's what I think is going to work to our advantage is everyone's ready to crown Wemby and Shea. Everyone's ready to say that's going to be the NBA champion, whoever wins that series. I think this is where San Antonio gets a hard dose of what it's like when it's postseason. I think the experience, our championship level, and the fact that we Tim Hardaway, Peyton Watson, I think Aaron Gordon, he always has a game or two in these playoffs where he just puts up ridiculous numbers. I'm like you, Gabe. I'm going Nuggets in 7. I think we go the distance with San Antonio. And as long as we win the series, I will look back at it fondly. But as far as when it's going on, I won't be thinking about it. But I'll go Nuggets.
You guys might have the toughest road to the finals in NBA history here. This would be if you win the finals this year. Honestly, your easiest matchup would be whoever comes out of the East.
Exactly. And it could be your Knicks. We'll get to that in just a second.
Yeah.
And we lost twice to you all. We should have won that
Imagine that,
game.
though. Imagine your path is Timberwolves, Spurs, Thunder.
Uh-huh. That's the thing a lot of...
Would Jokic be a top 5 player if he wins a ring this year with that path?
I'll tell you what. Everyone talks about the 2011 Dirk path, right? To this day, a lot of people say that's the hardest path anyone's ever going to go on. And I'm one of them. Like, for anyone that knows me, I'm a big Dirk guy. I grew up a Dirk guy. Like, I always loved my Nuggets, but I would always make it a point to go watch Dirk. Like, I even got a Dirk jersey in my closet. So I always rooted for the Mavericks for that reason. Now I could care less about the Mavericks. But if Jokic and company managed to pull this off, Gabe, we might have to talk about this as the greatest run to a championship in history.
As long as there's no upsets anywhere else, if it goes as expected, this would be the toughest ring in NBA history for the Nuggets. And it's crazy because I really do think that the Timberwolves would beat whoever comes out of the East. The Spurs would beat whoever comes out of the East, possibly, unless they get the Celtics. That would be tough. The Nuggets would beat whoever comes out of the East. The Thunder would beat whoever comes out of the East. You're looking at this West, and honestly, the 4-5 matchup would be, in my opinion, and if the Trailblazers somehow or Suns or Warriors did the impossible, but the 4-5 would be the toughest, or rather the two most inferior, I want to say, teams that could come out of the first round. Like that's the easiest matchup right there. But everyone else, they could beat whoever comes out of the East, and I hate to say it.
So for the Western Conference Finals, we both got OKC in Denver, our rematch of last year. And if everybody stays healthy, if the injury gods stay out of it, we're in for another show. We were in for a show last year. But I truly believe this, Gabe, and let me cook with this.
Are you going to go there?
Huh?
Are you going to go there?
Here's the thing. You know how much I love my team. I will always love my team. And I truly believe last year, the OKC Thunder were not the better team. I think we proved that time and time again. I'm going to stand on this. If we were healthy, we win that series. I truly and wholeheartedly believe that. I do not believe that they were better than us, even though they won the series. I understand that. But if you look at how they won those games, you cannot tell me they were the better team. But as much as that being said, though, I don't want to say this, but the ding-dang officials, they are going to play a role in who wins this series. And I don't like to be that guy. And I don't want to sit here and say it's rigged, it's not. But, Gabe, even you, and even NBA fans, if you're a Thunder fan, you may crap on this, you may dislike it, But SGA gets all the dang whistles. Doesn't matter what happens. And it bugs the crap out of me.
I've seen it.
Go ahead.
No, I concur. I've seen it when the Thunder play the Knicks. When he had 2 fouls in the first quarter, Dejounte leaves him in. He commits a third offensive foul, and they don't call it. And then I've seen what should be no calls. I've seen it. It's ticky-tacky. As Coach Mike Brown said, he has probably the best gamesmanship in NBA history, which if you want to call that a diss, call it a diss. If you want to say he's smart and he knows how to get the refs on his side, do it that way. I don't think it's necessarily a diss to say that he knows how to get contact.
And the push off too, and that's the thing. I don't want to turn this into that, but I will leave it at this: the push off. It's so blatant and obvious how he creates that space. You can see it, like he's literally pushing off. And I get it.
I can see you're already preparing for a series like this to happen, and you're kind of like already getting some of that anger out because you can foresee the whistles that would happen.
Well, it's just ridiculous. They did it to us last year. Like, literally, Jokic is literally getting grabbed, yanked, hit upside the head. I mean, you see it. He doesn't get the whistle. And I get it. And people are going to say, well, you're a Nuggets fan. Of course you're going to say that. What do you – like, Jokic is literally getting WWE down there where he's getting German suplex, no call.
I think we can both agree that Jokic and Kat are two of the biggest victims of not getting whistles.
Yes. And that's the thing, too. And you look at Shea, like, you breathe on him, they get to blow the whistle. Like, and I'm like, really? And, like, even Aaron Gordon, who doesn't say anything, he's even like, how are you supposed to guard someone where you can't even, like, guard him? You literally have to give Shea all the space he wants and just hope he has a bad night shooting. But I digress.
Which doesn't happen. That man shoots lights out.
That's the thing. Like, every player, like in Chris Finch, I applaud him for what he did earlier this year when he cussed the officials out and everything, because these coaches see it. They like Chris Finch is one of the first ones.
Like I said, Chris Finch got ejected for that point. Mike Brown said that SGA is the best gamesmanship guy that he's ever seen. Mm-hmm. Nick Nurse said that they foul too, Like, people will get mad at the Thunder, and for the right reasons. And I don't think that you can necessarily discredit, like, how good of a team they are. But it's just true that they are able to get contact, get the whistle, whether it's deserving or not. And it's not just SGA. It's J-Dub. It's Chet Holmgren. We've seen it out of them too.
Mm-hmm. And it's like Shea's the biggest offender of it, but like you said, like even Alex Caruso, the way they play defense, like, and I'll say this, and that's one of their biggest advantages, is you see the way they play defense, they're fouling like a mug sometimes. Like how are you supposed to stop it?
Lou Dort and Alex Caruso are the biggest physical bullies for their size. Like, in terms of like okay, to draw it back to a Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson joke, inch for inch, they are the biggest physical bullies in the NBA.
But here's the thing. I'll give Josh Hart this credit, and we'll get off this soapbox, is he at least tries to play defense. Yeah, does he get a little dirty? Yeah, it happens. But, like, I generally see he's trying to guard him. He's trying to stop him. Lou Dort, I'm not so sure he ain't trying to injure somebody. And I know people will defend him and say, oh, it was just an accident. Do you not see what he tried to do to Jokic, guys? That was not no accident. He was aiming to take his knee out again. He was trying to.
Yeah, he just got that, right?
Yes. That was his third game back, I think it was. But to a Thunder Nuggets series, if this is how it turns out, for the right to go to the finals, I'm going to go Thunder in 7. I don't like it, but I'm going Thunder.
You had me.
I'm going to go Thunder in 7. I think Thunder are going back to the finals.
Well, this is where we disagree, but not for the reasons you're hoping. The Thunder and Nuggets, it's going to be Thunder in 5. As much as the Nuggets are, like you said, a great team, And last year, who knows what would happen if Aaron Gordon is healthy. I personally think the Thunder still would have won last year because Game 7 was a blowout. But in this year, even with the Nuggets having a more well-rounded team, I got some news for you. The Thunder got better too. They got Jared McCain. They got another year as a unit. They've been here before. They are even better coached. They have a bigger fandom. And I think that everything that needs to happen for them will happen, and they win in 5. I just think they're even better gelled this year.
So me and Gabe both had the OKC Thunder in the NBA Finals. Lord help us if that happens.
I know, hot take, right?
Please,
Wait, let me.
Nuggets.
So you have the Thunder beating the Rockets in 7. You don't think that affects if they win or lose the next series? The fact that they go to 7, I guess the Nuggets go to 7 too. So
we're both kind of on wobbly legs at that point. It basically becomes a slugfest.
And in that case, the Thunder are also younger. So
it's kind of one of them. If this is how it plays out, I'm not saying it is. We could be totally off base. It could be the Lakers.
Spurs Nuggets is it's a hot take that we have. Saying the Nuggets beat the Spurs is not the popular take. So it could be that that's not how it goes.
I like it. Like as you said, you can see a little bit of my bias in it, which we all have a little bias. But I kind of feel like after 2 7-game series between the two of us, we're kind of going to be like them fighters. We're both on wobbly legs, just punching. Like, who can land the final knockout punch? But we both got the Thunder. But I'm hoping the Nuggets prove me wrong. I always love you, Denver. So go Nuggets. Let's bring a title back to the Mile High. I will always root for you first and foremost. Don't ever get it twisted, guys. I will always root for you, no matter what my prediction says. On to the East. Pistons, we both had the Hornets winning. This is interesting, Gabe. If the Hornets are the team here, this could be a really, really fun series. You've got a young Hornets team against a Pistons team who we didn't have anywhere near the number 1 seed. I believe I said the Pistons will be in the top 5. I said they're going to make that kind of leap. I didn't think they'd make this big of a leap. And I don't know if you did either, Gabe, but go ahead.
I did. And I'm going to start this bracket off with a bang from the East because I got the Pistons winning, but I think they're going to take the Hornets are going to take the Pistons to 7 games. I think it's going to be Pistons in 7. It's just the perfect matchup, right? From a history standpoint, they had the biggest fight of the season. The fact that the Hornets play the Pistons well, they keep it close every time. And I just hope that it's Hornets Pistons and not Magic Pistons. Magic Pistons would be such a boring series, but Pistons Hornets would be such a banger. I look at it top to bottom, and they're constructed very similarly. Outside of Jalen Duren, I think is the difference maker in this series. As much as I love Moussa Diabate, he reminds me of Dennis Rodman a lot. He doesn't look to shoot, but he gets every rebound, and he's physical, not afraid of confrontation. But Jalen Duren has cemented himself into a legitimate star in the NBA, which I never thought would happen. I thought he would be just another lob threat that plays good defense and rebounds, but that's just not what he is. He is a star. But look, Cade and LaMelo, very similar. Obviously, Cade is the better player at this point in his career. He has cemented himself as the bigger all-star and the better winner so far. But the wing threats of Charlotte, Knippel, he's not going to play that poorly every game, although I do think Knippel in the playoffs is not going to be Knippel of the regular season. That could be why they lose. But Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, they're going to be the ones who determine how far this series goes. And Brandon Miller, to me, I've been high on him since Alabama. I think he's a bucket. He's not afraid of the moment at all, as we saw from his 3-point make against the Heat in the final minute. He is, even if he doesn't play well, he's a threat to space the floor. I just think that it's the perfect matchup. It's the perfect 1-8 matchup, and the Pistons do not want to see the Hornets.
I'm with you. I don't think this is their ideal matchup. I don't think that this would be one where where the Pistons are clamoring. They're probably hoping the Magic win.
I think they would rather face the Raptors, who are at the 5 seed, than the Hornets.
Here's the thing. I'm going to go Pistons in 6. I think the Hornets will win 2 games, but they're both young teams. But I think Kate Cunningham and the overall Detroit defensive, just the way they beat you down. And like, that's the thing. I think Colin's going to struggle a bit in this series. I think Brandon Miller's wingspan, I think, will give Detroit some problems, and LaMelo's playmaking. But I think it's Pistons in 6. I think Pistons have played the best all year in the East. They're the most consistent out East, I think. You can make an argument for Celtics. And we'll get to the Knicks here in a minute. The Knicks, they've been inconsistent. They've had times where they look like they could go far, and then there's other times where they might get beat in the first round if they get the right matchup. I mean, the Knicks won the NBA Cup, but we'll get to that in a minute. But I got Pistons in 6. I think this is going to be a good series if it's the Hornets. Now, if it's the Magic, I think it's Pistons in 5.
Okay.
Raptors Cavs. Now, this is one of my favorite series going into the postseason because you got Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, the bigs of Cleveland versus the young, scrappy Toronto team. And Gabe, I want to say this, and we can even go back and play the tape, but I said in the preview when we talked about this early in July, I said Toronto is going to be a team that we should all watch for.
That's right.
And you said, and you even told me, you're like, I don't think so, Austin, but I would like to see that. Okay. That Brandon Ingram trade, I knew that would come back to work in their favor. Brandon Ingram, what a wonderful addition to this Toronto team he has been, along with Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickly. You want to talk about a team, Gabe, that I think could be feisty and cause some upsets? I think Toronto could do something because Cleveland has been known to not perform in the playoffs. I want to hear what you think, though, first, Gabe.
Well, I think the Raptors have overperformed all year, and I think that I have been a victim of sleeping on them. But Brandon Ingram has decided to become an all-around star and not just a scorer, not just a shooter, but he has elevated this team, as you've said, and he is the best Toronto Raptors player. Scotty Barnes has been great. Colin Murray-Boyles has surprised me when he's healthy. He has been one of the better defenders in the NBA. He could be an all-defensive guy for several years moving forward. What's concerning to me is the guard play. That's where I think the difference is, because the Cavs have Evan Mobley, who could legitimately shut down Scotty Barnes, because Scotty doesn't like to shoot threes. He will shoot threes, and he makes them occasionally. But Scotty wants to drive on these wings. But the thing is, Evan Mobley is not a wing, and he's quick on his feet. He can play great defense. He's got the wingspan, right? He's the more physical player. He'll box him out like he's a cupcake. And that's where I see the difference is Scotty Barnes will not have a great series. But the wings, or the guards of Cleveland, James Harden, he's had his issues in the playoffs. Not in the first round, though. He is not someone who chokes in the first round, right? You save that for later when he does collapse. But in the first round, he handles business every time. Donovan Mitchell usually handles business. And I just think that that's too tough of a matchup. They had some great trades in the trade deadline, getting Keon Ellis. I don't think that Emmanuel Quickly, and that hurts me to say, I don't think that Jamal Shed, I don't think that these guys are going to be factors. I don't think Jacoby Walter is going to be a factor. Brandon Ingram, he could get some trouble, but he could also, it depends how, what's his name? How Tyson does, how Jalen Tyson does against him defensively.
Jalen Tyson, yes.
Yeah. But Jarrett Allen also, I think, will feast against Colin Murray-Boyles, against, Sandro, who is lights out, but defensively he is not a good defender. I don't know. Do you know what Jakob Poeltl's status is for this series? I know he's been injured most of the year.
He's expected to be available for this series. The timetable is questionable for what game.
Okay. So, I don't think that, I think Jakob Poeltl's good, but I think he's a little bit like I think he was probably at his peak last year and the year before, and I just think the Cavs overall are just a better team top to bottom. But the fact that I have to ramble this much to explain why they're better, maybe that means that the Raptors are a very good team too. And so I can't necessarily say it will be a domination if I have to become a lawyer to explain why the Cavs are better. So I'm going to say Cavs in 6.
You know what, Gabe? I'm gonna surprise.
Wow.
A lot of people are picking safe. A lot of people are doing the safe bet. But you know what? Give me Toronto in 7. I'm taking the Raptors in 7.
You have them winning game 7 in Cleveland. Okay.
I think Toronto in 7. I've been on the Toronto train all year. I've said from the beginning. I've said this is a young team. They're learning. They've got nice pieces, nice depth pieces. They're building something over there. And I think you're too young sometimes to not know no better. And I don't trust James Harden. I get it. His first round history isn't as bad as later on. But I can't buy the Cleveland hype. I can't do it. I'm going Toronto in 7. I think
they have
Toronto.
They have 3 top 30 players in the NBA.
I understand, Gabe. Like I do, but I think Toronto is poised for an upset.
And you know what I think the Cavs did this year too is last year we saw them put all their energy into the regular season and got burnt the hell out. This year, I think they coasted a little bit. And they maybe struggled a little bit with Garland and they traded for Harden. And Harden has plenty of playoff experience, good and bad. So I think they took it a little easier. And the Raptors, I think that when healthy, they tried their absolute hardest every single game. And I commend them for that. And they are young, but I just don't think they're ready yet for that big of an upset. And I know it's not a huge upset on paper being 4-5, but look at that spread for game 1. And it's going to be similar all series.
I believe in Toronto. Like I said, Toronto in 7. But now let's talk about the Knicks. Everyone loves to talk about the Knicks, right? New York, the Big Apple, Gabe's team, but they're facing a feisty Atlanta Hawks team. Like, I'll let Gabe start since this is his squad. But that Trae Young trade, don't let us find out that Trae Young was holding him down.
He was. I think that genuinely, and I said it when it happened too, and CJ McCollum is one of my favorite players in the NBA. If you ask me my top 5 favorite players outside of the Knicks that have never played for the Knicks in no order today, LeBron, Dame, James Harden when he was in his prime, Nikola Jokic, and CJ McCollum. That's my top 5. And if you want to go all right, James Harden not in his prime, fine, switch him out for Luka. But yes, CJ McCollum is a top 5 favorite player of mine that's not currently a Knick or has ever been a Knick. And he has the best box plus minus since becoming a Hawk. And out of anyone, better than Jokic, better than Giannis when healthy, better than SGA. He has been the biggest difference maker since becoming an Atlanta Hawk. I love the guy. I'm going to have to root against him. But look, when it comes for the Knicks, no matter who we play, we have a bad habit of making it close. And we saw that all regular season when, the Mavs with 6 healthy players would beat us, or the Kings would beat us and Precious Achiuwa would drop 25 on us, outscore Cat. But we would also, in turn, win by 1 against the Nets, win by 3 against the Curryless Warriors, or we would win the NBA Cup against the Spurs. We would win by a few points against the Cavs on Christmas. We just have an ugly habit of making games closer than they need to be or staying in games longer than we should. And for this, it's going to be the same. I predict we're going to win in 5, but it's going to be the 5 most nail-biting games you could think of. And my blood pressure is going to spike to an average of 140 over.
Cinema.
Yeah, just because of that. So, yes, I think we'll handle business. And if we don't handle business, then we have no business keeping this team as currently constructed. But I think it'll be 5 games, and I think it'll be an excruciating 5 games.
See, here's the thing. I'm going to give Gabe a little taste of his own medicine. I hope this goes the distance. I want to see
Whatever,
this young.
man. Whatever.
See, Gabe, you want to put that boot on me with the T-Wolf series. And listen, part of me wants to see it go 7 because Gabe over here was like, it'll be cinema, Austin. But now I want to see Gabe. But in all seriousness, though, I do want to see Atlanta in a 7-game series with New York. I do think it would be kind of fun just to see this young Hawks team start to learn and maybe pull off an upset. But like Gabe said, though, New York, they've had their moments. They've had times where they beat teams that are championship contenders. They beat my Nuggets 2 times in a row. I don't know why we can't beat the Knicks. We haven't beaten them in almost 3 years now.
You know what it was?
Funny
You know what it was? After you guys traded Carmelo Anthony, we just couldn't beat you guys.
I think it's one of them. It's the flippity flop because we haven't beaten you all in 3 years. You swept us 2 years ago when we won the title. Funny enough,
I
people
really
forget about that, but you swept us. You won the title.
My fault. You
go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I really thought that year that we had Hardenstein, we had Anunoby's first year, and we blew you guys out as the defending champs. And we blew out the Celtics. I thought that was our year, but I just had to reminisce for a second because we're talking about Nuggets Knicks historically. But
I mean that's one of them. But as far as this series goes, I think Atlanta, they're one of these. We got a lot of young teams. And Jalen Johnson, dude is a two-way player if I've ever seen one. Plays defense with the best of them. He's going to get some votes for DPOY of the year.
DPOY?
I think he is. I think he will. Wemby's going to win it.
Yeah.
But I think Jalen Johnson's can win some votes. I mean, he plays very good defense.
All right, maybe I'm
McCollum he does. He plays very good defense. Like, a lot of people need to watch him play defense. He can play both sides of the ball. But like you said, CJ McCollum, he went to the Western Conference Finals with Portland in their only appearance. He's won grueling series. So Atlanta's got a mix of youth and experience. But the Knicks, this is it for them. They got to go to the finals. Anything short of a finals for them is a failure of a season. Point blank simple. There is no more, you won a first-round series, good for you, New York. That's gone now. The fact that y'all made the Eastern Conference final game, if y'all do not make the finals this year, there is going to be some moving up in that roster coming this offseason.
We're gonna have to choose between Karl Anthony Towns and Mike Brown, and I think because he's only in year 1, we're gonna pick Mike Brown. And I didn't even mention who the Hawks have that we should worry about. Yes, of course, Jalen Johnson, but honestly, I like OG on Jalen Johnson. I think that's a good matchup, and he can honestly damn near shut him out. I think that Jalen Johnson could really struggle this series offensively. Now, defensively, that's a different issue. I'm most worried offensively again about Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He put up 36 points against us, and he had 9 threes to show for it. CJ McCollum, again, worried about him. Look, Dyson Daniels, I'm going to be happier when he's on the court than off of it, at least for the first few games. If he can prove me wrong, maybe I'll change my opinion and I will be, more worried about his defense. But Jalen Brunson has cooked him in years past. He's hit game winners on him. He's broken his ankles. He's dropped 30, 40 against him. And I like that matchup. I think that as great of a defender as Dyson Daniels is, he's having a pretty bad year, not just shooting, but all around. And I think the Hawks are better this year without him. Kuminga is going to piss me off for a game. He's going to have one good game. I'm feeling like it's going to be a game 2 or game 3 where he drops 20 points in like 8 or 9 minutes. And, we're all like, what the hell? Like, he just won them a game. But yeah, I still stand on we're going to win in 5. And if we don't win this series, like I said, got to change everything. It means we just don't deserve to be in this position. But I think we handle business.
I'm going to go Knicks in 6. I think Atlanta gets 2 games off New York. I think the fact that it's in the Garden, I think this young team, the series is going to reside in the Garden because of home court advantage. I think the Hawks are going to thrive on that. I think this young team is going to embrace being the young team and playing under the lights, right? Because Madison Square Garden's one of the best venues in all of basketball. I know Celtics fans will argue and say TD Garden, and
Nope.
I'm with you. If you want to say TD Garden and MSG, that's cool with me. If you want to say TD Garden,
The only competition we have is Crypto Arena.
I think Boston, as far as history and prestige goes, I think
I get
you can
it.
make
I
a case for
get it. And Boston's a beautiful city too, but I just can't put it up there with MSG.
But to the point, though, I'm going to go Knicks at 6. I think this is going to be a fun series. Speaking of the Celtics, we got Celtics Sixers, which on paper, the Celtics, there's a couple teams this year that when me and Gabe talked about this in the preseason, way back in June or July, we thought Tatum being injured, them trading away all their talent, we thought, okay, the Celtics are poised for maybe a reload, not a quote-unquote rebuild, but maybe a reload. Maybe they'll be a play-in team. They'll still win a play-in game or two. Not a playoff team, right? We thought maybe they'll be in the 9-10 game, that kind of game. But Joe Mazzulla, what an incredible job he has done. And, Gabe, if I had to vote for MVP, I would give Jaylen Brown some of my vote. I would. He has been spectacular. I mean, you could make a great case that he could win MVP. You really could. And the fact that Tatum's back on the court, and wouldn't it be poetic, Gabe, if it's Knicks Celtics in round 2, the exact place that Tatum tore his Achilles, it's the same place he goes back for a chance to go back to the Eastern Conference Finals. We'll get to that in a second if we're thinking what we're thinking. That, Gabe, screams cinema right there. You can't script a better movie script than that. But
everyone thinks it's bound to happen.
I would be down for it. I don't know about Knicks or Celtics fans if you all want to see each other again, but I'd be down for it as a non-fan. But as for this goes, I'll put it plain and simple. I'm going to go Celtics in 5. I think if Embiid's not healthy, it's going to be a long series. And I like Tyrese Maxey. I like Edgecombe. I like PG. I like all these guys. But Boston they're another team. They're like Detroit. They wear you down. They beat you up. They make you feel their presence. Jaylen Brown, the double J's, Tatum and Brown. I think Tatum's rounded into form. I think Boston's beginning to hit their stride. And they're beginning to look like a team that could win the whole thing if they get hot. So give me Celtics in 5. What do you think, Gabe?
Who would have thought that last year, going into this year, that Neemias Queta would be the starting center for a championship caliber team? But I agree. Give me Celtics in, I want to say 5, but truthfully, I think it's going to be 4. Celtics in 4. Because Embiid is not going to be healthy, even though I hope he is, because when he's healthy, they're a totally different team. But I truthfully think without Embiid, I mean, these Celtics, they just beat the Magic with Baylor Shireman, right, as their number 1 option in the last game of the year. And the Magic were healthy. They were trying to work out their seeding. I believe if they won, they would have had home court against the Sixers in the play-in game, right? They cared about that game. And they lost to Baylor Shireman. They lost to Luka Garza. They lost to Ron Harper Jr. This is not a team that is to be messed around with, even if it's their backups in the game, let alone when you have Derek White, you have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard. Although I'm not really the biggest Peyton Pritchard fan in the playoffs. I think he's very hot or cold. And I think that he could be the X factor of this series. But I think that the Sixers have a tendency to let guys who aren't the star be the star. And that's what I think could happen this series. So I'm saying Celtics in 4. Don't be surprised if Peyton Pritchard messes around and averages like 22, 23 points per game this series too.
So that leads us to our second round. So we differ on this one. The first one we differ on. I've got Raptors Pistons. You've got Cavs Pistons. So I'll let you go first, Gabe. Cavs Pistons. Yeah. What's the series look like, and who wins?
I think it's going to be another 7-game series for the Pistons, but this time I trust the Pistons to beat the Cavaliers, and actually, it's such a tough matchup. But yeah, I guess I would give the edge to the Pistons. It's just tough because the Cavs have been here so much more than the Pistons, since their first year getting Donovan Mitchell, and that's. You know what? Nah. Cavs in 7, man. Cavs in 7. I'm changing it on a whim. On a whim, whatever.
Wow.
Cavs in 7. I know the Pistons are deep. Cade Cunningham hasn't been back from his collapsed lung for too long. But I think in terms of matchups, the Cavaliers match up even better than the Hornets do against them.
Wow.
Now listen, defensively, Keon Ellis.
Wow.
Keon Ellis is going to give Cade Cunningham hell defensively. Offensively, James Harden and Donovan Mitchell that's the best backcourt in the NBA as constructed. Like it just is. And center-wise, maybe the lights were brighter than expected for Jarrett Allen a few years ago at MSG, but damn it, Detroit is not home of MSG. Little Caesars Arena is not MSG. And Jarrett Allen will do just fine boxing out Jalen Duren. Tobias Harris has been great for the Pistons, but he's not a matchup for Evan Mobley, right? Isaiah Stewart would be the better option, but Isaiah Stewart is someone that doesn't work out with spacing the ball that much. He can shoot the 3, but he's not a great shooter, and he's not necessarily a phenomenal rebounder. Coaching-wise, they're probably better coached. But, hey, this is the coach in J.B. Bickerstaff that the Cavs had and had to fire because he wasn't doing the job well enough. And so the Cavs believe they're better coached too. And, yes, maybe the Pistons have, the home court advantage. And I'm making a bunch of points here for something I wasn't very sure on 5 minutes ago. But I had an epiphany, right, while I was thinking about this. But, nah. I gotta go for an upset at some point. I know I went Nuggets over Spurs, but that's very realistic. I gotta go for something crazy. And to me, something crazy but reasonable would be the more experienced team with better top-heavy talent beating the number 1 seed. So I'm going Cavs in 7 in Detroit over the Pistons, round 2.
So I got Raptors Pistons for mine. And you know something, Gabe? Hearing you say that, I'm going a little crazy myself.
No way, man.
I'm going a little crazy myself. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. This may be a stupid thing to pick. Raptors in 7. I think Toronto. Raptors in 7. I think they win 2 7-game series. I think Toronto stuns Detroit in Detroit, and Toronto makes a surprising run to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Give me Raptors. Year 1 of the playoffs?
Yes. I think we're going to see something. We're going to see something magical in year 1. I think Brandon Ingram, he's been waiting his entire career for this moment, and I think he delivered on Detroit. So Gabe's got Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Finals. I've got Toronto. Now this right here, if this turns out how we think, Knicks Celtics for the right to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. New York finally beat Boston. They finally put it to rest. But Jason Tatum could return back to the same spot again, this time with everything to gain. No longer the defending champs, something to gain, something to prove. And the Knicks want to get back there one more time. Gabe, what do you think about a Celtics-Knicks round 2 to go to the Eastern Conference Finals?
I think it's going to be the same result as last year, Austin. It's going to be Knicks in 6. And it's something that I have thought about. Do I come on this show and say the Celtics are going to beat the Knicks? No chance. I'm going to say Knicks in 6 because even though the Celtics are a lot healthier now than they were to start the year, we have beaten them healthy. Now, maybe not completely healthy, right? Because Jason Tatum did have a rest, but Jason Tatum is not going to be 100% himself. We are very healthy, top to bottom. And I give credit to Tibbs. We were healthy last year, but we were drained last year. But this year, through ups and downs, the one thing we've had, thankfully, is health. We've had guys miss time, but look where we are to start the playoffs. I knock on wood because most teams are not healthy this time of year. There's usually a key player hurt. But we are healthy. The Pistons are banged up, and they are getting adjusted back to being healthy. That will be a huge factor. They do have home court advantage. They had home court advantage last year. And yes, Jason Tatum was out to end the series. But we were up 2-1, up 9 with 2 minutes left to go up 3-1 when he got hurt. We were playing better than them, both teams healthy. And Porzingis, not necessarily that he was the healthiest, but he was playing. Mitchell Robinson being healthy is a huge X factor for us. That man is the best offensive rebounder in the league. I think that Cat is going to be an X factor too, but I also don't want everyone to be on his head if he has a quarter or two where he's not shooting the ball that much. He needs to find his place in this system, in this Mike Brown unit, and I think he's doing an okay job at that and a great job recently. Jalen Brunson hasn't had the best year statistically. I understand that, but in the playoffs, he's a different beast. As a Knick, he averages 24 points per game, but in the playoffs, he averages 30 on 50% shooting with the best defenders in the league guarding him, with hand checking being an everyday occurrence. And it's going to come down to also Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, the wing stop duo, Josh Hart. How will he find his role? And I just feel like we're finally built for this. We might not win a ring, we might. But for this series, give me Knicks in 6. We're going to get it clinched once again at home at MSG.
Here's the thing, Gabe. I don't mean to break your heart right now because we're having such a good conversation, but I'm about ready to break your heart. Celtics in 5.
5?
Yes, Celtics in 5.
Talk to the hand. Talk to the hand.
I'm sorry. Something about this, I understand it. A lot of people are thinking I'm disrespecting the Knicks by saying this, but I think Boston remembers last year, and I think they're coming to prove a point. And I think New York, deep down, I understand your points, but I feel like Boston, Jaylen Brown was not at this MVP level last year. I think he might be the best player on the floor coming into this series.
Unbelievable.
And I think it's Celtics in 5. I think Tatum.
I bet you thought that last year too, huh? I bet you thought that last year too.
No, actually, I had Celtics at 7. Funny enough.
Okay. All right.
I said Celtics at 7 last year, but this year I think it's Celtics at 5. I think they
also we have depth this year. We didn't have any depth last year. We had a 6.5-man rotation. This year we've been 10-man rotation for a bunch of the year.
But see, here's the thing. But I understand that, Gabe. But still,
Landry
Shamet. I have my doubts about it.
Landry Shamet, Josh Hart, Mitch, Diawara. Okay, Diawara might need. Jose Alvarado, I don't think he plays that much, honestly. I think he'll come in every now and then, maybe to guard Pritchard, but that's about it. But, oh, my God, we're deep. Dude, you're breaking my heart. It's like I feel like Padme when she sees Anakin turning evil.
I'm sorry, Gabe. Like, this is just how I think. I could be completely wrong, and I will apologize if I am wrong about your Knicks. But I think it's Celtics in 5. I think the gap is that big. I
Yeah.
think Boston is out for revenge. I think they want to make a statement that you thought it was sweet around here. We're coming to snatch that. We sending you home, and we're going to do it.
If you're
Do
right,
it
then
in.
let's go Sixers.
Let's go Sixers. But that leads us to our Eastern
Oh my God,
Conference
our Eastern
Finals.
Conference Finals are two different teams.
Yes, like the West, me and Gabe were pretty much like, but for the East, me and Gabe were flipped. I got Raptors Celtics, which if that happens, man, that would be the biggest pull of the year. But we got Cavs Knicks. I'll let you start, Gabe. Cavs Knicks. Is this the year Donovan Mitchell goes to the finals, or is it going to be Knicks Thunder for you?
Well, for Raptors Celtics, I would say Celtics in 5, just based off experience. But I do think that the Raptors being young helps, and their length helps, their wings.
Mm-hmm.
Knicks Cavs. That's such a good series if it happens. Like I feel like it's just perfect. It's just like perfect balance if that happens. I mean, it's different identities. The Cavs are probably better in terms of being more top heavy, but we're deeper. We play more cohesive as a unit. We have better chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
God, that's so tough, man.
What
would you say?
I would leave Knicks in 6 on that.
You know, I would say I'm saying Knicks in 7. I think that the Knicks, I mean the Cavs, we beat them in 5, but that was two different teams. The only players they have that are still in the rotation from then are Spida, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. The only players we have that are in rotation are Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and Mitchell Robinson. Everyone else is different. Miles McBride, I guess. Everyone else is different. So, yeah, I'm saying Knicks in 7 because we are deeper. But that, honestly, Knicks Celtics, I get that would be like, Shrek 1. It's this new, fresh idea. Everyone loves it. Well, not new and fresh, but like this great storytelling. That it's like whoever wins gets to marry the princess and move on. But, dude, this Eastern Conference Finals would be Shrek 2. It would be the sequel that everyone needs, not because of storytelling, but because of how perfectly it matches up. It would set an example of how like in the UFC when it first started, it was like you had to get 2 different styles of fighters to face off. It like you couldn't have 2 grapplers. It had to be a kickboxer versus a grappler, or a striker versus a wrestler. That's how this feels, right? It's like finally, in a league filled by parity, it's finally 2 teams facing off with different identities. And I would give the edge to the Knicks, but if it goes to 7 and we win, how I think it would be, we would win by like 5 points, and Jalen Brunson would hit like a last-minute 3 to go up like 8, and then they would score. It would be a little too late. That's how I would see it. So, in my prediction on Sports Talk with Austin, the Knicks make the finals. How about that?
Okay, so you got Thunder Knicks. I'm going Thunder Celtics. I think Celtics beat the Raptors in 5. I'll go Celtics in 5. So that leads us to our finals. I got Celtics Thunder. You got Knicks Thunder. Well, I mean, and some people will say, well, what a turn of events. The Knicks fan think the Knicks are going to win the East.
Listen, it's possible. Okay, it's been possible since we lost last year, and it's even more possible now that the Pacers had a filler year. It's possible. Now, listen, is it probable? We're probably not favored, but we are probably the only team that has been in the top 3 in terms of, probability the entire year. So for that consistency alone, I'm saying that we will make the finals. But listen, it's Thunder Knicks. All right. obviously I will tear my heart out if that series happens. And I might lose a few years of life rooting for the Knicks in that series. But look, this is where the analyst in me comes out. All right, I'm not stupid. It's Thunder Knicks. It's going to be the Thunder winning the championship in this scenario. Do I hope I'm wrong? Absolutely. But as you see right here, that is my finals matchup, and I think the Thunder win. And I think it goes to 6 only because of how grueling the NBA playoffs are. Not because we're better than the Nuggets. Not because we're better than – well, yeah, I do think we're better than the Rockets, and I do think we're better than the Warriors. But I really don't think we're better than the Nuggets. I just think that the West is so grueling, and they're going to be taxed to all hell, even if they are winning these series in 4 and 5. But, yeah, I think it's going to be Thunder in 6. And we're going to get our hearts broken.
That's funny.
All this hype about getting to the finals, just like that.
And I've got it up here, so we've got visual evidence. Gabe's final pick, Knicks, Thunder in 6. So who wins finals MVP, Gabe, for the Thunder?
Oh, dude. It's going to be the Student Government Association. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA. Now, could we give him some trouble? Yeah. But like you said before, if he doesn't shoot well, guess where he will be shooting well? At the free throw line. He knows how to get there. If he's having a bad night, he'll know how to get there. He'll be the undoubted finals MVP. But J-Dub, even though he's having a bad year, I expect him to have a great playoff run. And he could average around 25, 8, and 6. So it's not impossible that he snags it from SGA, but Student Government Association is winning that finals MVP.
So this is Gabe's final pick. Gabe, are you ready to see mine?
And by the way, also, no surprise, SGA, Magic Johnson, Western Conference Finals MVP, Jalen Brunson, Larry Bird, Eastern Conference Finals MVP.
Yes. So for the West, Shai's going to win the West. Magic Johnson Award. As for the East, I'll give it to Jaylen Brown for the Larry Bird. How fitting. I think he wins another one. Wins 2 of them. But Gabe, take a look at what I got. Oh.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is a rage bait.
Celtics at 7. Go green. Go
you
green,
are
baby. Listen,
dude. They have no depth.
Listen, I'm going Celtics at 7, and here's why. And I'm gonna say this, and I know Gabe is about to blow the gasket. And he thinks I'm doing it to mess with him, to get in his head, to get him all fired up. But I truly believe the Celtics figured something out about the Thunder in the previous 2 games. I think they found a secret sauce that works for them and how to control their offense. And I think Jaylen Brown was able to get in Shai's head. He got in Shai's head a little bit, something that you really don't ever do. Like that's the thing. I think Jaylen Brown, I think he's up for the challenge. I think he's going to guard Shai, and I think if the refs let him play, Jaylen Brown is going to make it physical. He's going to make Shai shoot off-balance shots, shoot shots that he does not like. I think this – go ahead.
I don't think Jaylen Brown has the cardio to guard SGA on one end and drop 30 on the other.
And here's the thing, though, but here's the good thing about the Celtics. Derek White comes alive in important games. Jason Tatum's now back. You got guys like Luka Garza.
Dude, you're kidding me. Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, Isaiah Joe, Jared McCain, and you're mentioning Luka Garza?
Listen, dude, listen. I understand on paper this is a mismatch. But the Celtics, I think, have figured out Joe Mazzulla I think, has figured it out. I said
Brother,
Celtics at 7.
Isaiah Hardenstein puts Luka Garza in a blender.
But see, here's the thing. Luka Garza can also shoot the three and take you off the dribble. And Hartenstein struggles with that. You see how they defend Jokic, right? How they defend these centers that can
Hardenstein is
shoot.
like the thing is, like, yeah, I understand that, but the Thunder, that's like their one weakness defensively, is that iHeart isn't great at defending guys on the perimeter. That's like their one weakness. Every other starter at all three levels clamps you down. Even SGA. SGA is a very good defender, probably the best two-way player, either him or Wemby.
I see. Here's the thing. I understand all that, Gabe, but there's just something about Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, especially Jaylen Brown, the way he got in Shea, and the way this team they just all do their role well. And these role players cannot all keep hitting shots. They cannot keep doing that. For 7
if they
games.
don't, they have their 13th guy can come off the bench and then he can start hitting shots.
And here's the thing. It's hard for a champion to repeat. It is just hard to do it. And here's the thing. It's not like I said Celtics in 4 or 5. I said Celtics in 7. I just think
it's ridiculous that they even win. I mean, listen, if I'm wrong, so be it. But this is a prediction show, and predictions are educated guesses.
Here's the thing, Gabe. I tell you what. Here's what I'll do.
Don't change your pick. Don't change your pick.
I'm not going to change my pick. I'm standing on it. Celtics in 7. I'm not changing this pick. I hope the Nuggets win it all. I want that up in front. I hope I'm completely wrong and it's Denver here. And just like Gabe wants it to be the Knicks there. Obviously, we're making a prediction. We both hope our teams. I would like to see a Knicks-Nuggets final.
I think, as much as I agree, I think, dude, I think the Timberwolves would beat the Celtics. I think the Nuggets would beat the Celtics. I think the Spurs would beat the Celtics. I think the Lakers, healthy at that point, would beat the Celtics. Not that the Celtics are bad. I'm just saying no freaking way any team in the East wins the finals this year. And I hate to say that, but the East is not taking it.
I believe in the Celtics, Gabe, and maybe that's me being more optimistic. Maybe just me being more hopeful. Let me ask you this, Gabe. Out of everybody in the East, who do you think would shock you if they won the finals? Is it Boston?
I think anyone in the East, but if any team, I'll put it this way, any team would shock me if they won the finals coming out of the East. But who is the biggest dark horse to come out of the East? I would say, well, I have the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals, so I guess I would say the Cavs. But low-key, the Hornets could go on a Jimmy Butler on the Heat type of run. I know it's year one, but just how good they've been since falling to, I think it was 11 games under 500.
Mm-hmm. I'll say this.
The Hawks could make the ECF.
If the Celtics do, yes. If the Celtics win, which I think they will, Jaylen Brown's going to win Finals MVP. He's going to win another. And we're going to be talking about Jaylen Brown as one of the 10 best players going today, if we're not already. I'm sticking by it. And I know as much as people don't want to admit it, but that is our predictions. Gabe is going Knicks versus Thunder with Thunder in 6. I'm going Celtics Thunder with Celtics in 7. I done made Gabe rage bait. He done dropped the camera. He's done upset. He's done distraught. But that's okay. That's okay. But with all that being said, though, that's our playoff predictions. And we get something wrong, we get something wrong. We're not perfect. These are just predictions. I got Toronto making a deep run. Gabe's got Cleveland making a deep run. So one of us is going to be right there. it may shock us all. Maybe the Sixers.
You know
make
what's
a run
crazy?
at it.
Neither of us have the Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Nope, not this year. Which would make a lot of Detroit fans happy.
And honestly,
Like,
I would love if they didn't, because if the Pistons did make the finals and it was Pistons-Knicks, I would have the Pistons winning that.
We're gonna have another Malice in the Palace in the Garden. No Malice in the Palace. But on a scale of 1 to 10 game, how excited are you for these playoffs?
Oh, dude, I can't wait. Now, Knicks-Hawks is gonna kind of grind my gears a little bit. I'm gonna be screaming at every call, but overall, this is gonna be a very exciting playoffs. I don't think it's a guarantee the Thunder win, but I do think they're on a different level. So we'll have to see what transpires there. I hope that Spurs-Nuggets happens, because that would be probably the most enticing matchup this decade. And in terms of the East, I mean, it's ironically the wild, wild West out there. So I'm excited to see what the Eastern Conference Finals looks like, how wrong we both are, because the Pistons are more likely than not, like, in terms of betting and odds, they're probably more likely to make it than not. So, yeah, I mean, I'm extremely excited. The best player is going to win the finals, in my opinion.
Just for that game, I'd have kicked you off the airway.
I had to get back at you for the Celtics, man. I had to get back at you. Obviously, I think
Jokic is not the best player. Listen here, Gabe. I will kick you off this airway. Nikola Jokic. Anywho, see, now we're busting each other's chops. But in all seriousness, though, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to all the series. Should be fun. I mean, like, of course, Nuggets, T-Wolves, Knicks, Hawks. Both of our series are going to be fun. Isn't it funny, Gabe, that we're both the 3-6 series? I mean,
yeah,
kind of where we thought we'd be. We're kind of on the same level with each other. Like, you can maybe make an argument one's better than the other, but there's really not much separating either of us. The 4 or 5 games should be good. I would say the 2-7 out west should be fun, but the 2-7 out east are kind of like, if Philly's not healthy, Boston's probably just run them over. But it's all interesting. So let me ask you this before we go: who is your MVP?
I think the most valuable player in the NBA is Nikola Jokic, but SGA is going to win, and Wemby's going to come a close second.
Okay. For me, and shocker, I know this ain't going to happen, but I'm going to say it. I want Jokic to win the MVP. I mean, leading the league in assists and rebounds.
Yeah.
Averaging a triple-double.
I will say, if Luka played 70 to 75 games, I think I would say Luka is the MVP.
Yeah, honestly, my top 5 real fast before we get on out of here and tell people what you're up to and what you're doing. My top 5, if I had a ballot, and I want to hear yours too, Gabe, would be Jokic, Wemby, Shea, Jaylen Brown, and I'll give it. Been playing pretty good, and Luka.
Well, Luka and Cade both got exceptions, so they are still eligible for awards. But they're even with that, you can't give an MVP to someone that played 60 games. So I'm going Jokic, SGA, Wemby, and then Luka, and then it's such a toss-up between Brown and Cade, but I'm gonna say I'm gonna lean Cade because I feel like his numbers are a little better, and also because they're the 1 seed.
I will throw an argument out there for this guy. I don't think he would win or would be in anybody's ballot, but I would throw like a wild card out there. I think you could make a real good argument for Devin Booker for what he's done in Phoenix.
Yeah, no one expected them, and I got to give a little Penny cameo here. My doggo Penny, she's been biting my freaking blanket for the past 2 hours. But yeah, I don't think anyone would vote for him for first, but he could get some top 5 votes.
Who would be your wild card, Gabe? Just out of curiosity, would it be Booker for you? He would be for me.
Good question.
Like you said, I don't know if he would get many, but he would be a wild card.
Oh, my wild card is Kawhi Leonard, 100%.
Okay,
Dude, career high.
You're going
year,
Kawhi. That's another good pick.
Career high year 14 or later. No one does that, and the turnaround, insane. And then doing it without Harden too. I know they didn't make the playoffs, but they. It's just crazy. They were 15 games under 500, and then they go 42-40.
That's one of them. It's very interesting, but we'll see how this all shapes out. I mean, we've got our predictions down for the playoffs. We've got our MVP votes down, what we think we would want and who we think should win. And we try to be unbiased, but we're like all fans. We love our teams. As you could tell, we wore Knicks and Nuggets. But that's the fun of this. You got to be a little biased. And if you all enjoyed this, me and Gabe will probably be back again in the offseason because I can't think of no one better to talk about the offseason with. Especially if the Knicks don't win, I want to hear what Gabe's got to say for himself. That's the thing. So, if you enjoy this, let me know and let Gabe know. You can find, and he will tell you where he can find you here in a second, or not. He can find you. You can find him, or he can find you if you want him to find you. Play hide and seek with Gabe and his dog Penny. And you let us know. We'll do another off season, or we'll do one after the NBA playoffs. Talk about the season in review. But Gabe, where can people find you if they want to find out what you're doing besides talking basketball?
Yes, sir. So because this is basketball discussion, follow my NBA account, NBA Rumors and News, all one word. We're at 69.2K followers, trying to get back up to 70K. Sometimes the year gets a little stagnant, but we're at the end of the year. And for your NBA news, you are going to want to know what happens as it happens for your team. So you will need to follow NBA Rumors and News for the quickest, most accurate, and the best Instagram account for such a thing. And if you're into football too, the voice of college football is who I work for. I produce Rutgers football content. No affiliation to Rutgers football itself, but with the company. Every Monday at 7 o'clock, I am on a show discussing such a thing. But like I said, NBA content, you know where to go. NBA Rumors and News. Think NBA RAN, NBA RAN, Rumors and News.
And I'll make sure to put all those in the comments below. I'll put Gabe's Twitter. I'll put his Instagram. I'll put Rutgers Voice College Football. Put all that in the description down below so you can easily find them. All you have to do is click on it down there at the bottom, and you don't have to go search. That's what I'm here for. I'll do the work for you. And you can follow Gabe there, give him a follow, and give Gabe a follow at Voice of College Football Rutgers. And they do talk some basketball on the Rutgers channel. If you are a basketball geek, they will talk a little bit. I mean, it's Voice of College Football. It's for college football. But when the season's light and basketball's on, they'll talk a little Rutgers basketball. I mean, we have a Rutgers alumni in the playoffs, actually. Gabe mentioned him earlier, Mr. Dylan Harper. He's a Rutgers alum, which I still don't know how Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper didn't make the tournament, but that's another topic.
Unbelievable.
Rutgers made that year two top 5 picks, and they couldn't make the Anywho, before me and Gabe go on a rant here, and I'm sure Gabe would go on a rant about that, that's where you can follow him. And let me know your predictions down below. Do you agree with my prediction? Do you agree with Gabe's? Do you think we're wacko for picking the Raptors or Cavs?
We're wacko. It's just a matter of do you agree with us?
Yes, exactly. We're a little wacko. And tell me who your team is. I want to know what fan base you represent. I don't care if you're a Celtics fan, a Thunder fan, I welcome all. Welcome y'all. I'll even welcome them nasty Timberwolves in. But with that being said, though, I thank you all for being here. I appreciate Gabe giving me some of his time today, almost 2 hours. Very gracious of him. And let's enjoy the NBA playoffs. And we got the NBA playoffs play-in tomorrow, and the playoffs begin Saturday, and our journey to the finals begins on Saturday. So we will see you in the meantime, in between times. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you as always, and good night, goodbye, and Goodbye, bang.